What if the very thing you've been trying to avoid is the doorway to everything you've been searching for? What if the emotion you keep pushing down was actually carrying the key to your liberation? And what if the healing you seek was not somewhere far away, but waiting quietly behind the wall you've built to keep it out? We live in a world that tells us to run from discomfort, to fix what hurts, to escape what feels messy, inconvenient, or unknown. But truth has a way of whispering from the places we refuse to look. And if you're quiet enough, willing enough, you may come to see that what you resist is what holds the key. What is resistance, really? It's not just a reaction, it's a contraction, a tightening of the soul against what is. It's that flinch you feel when an old memory arises, the way you avoid a certain topic in conversation, the way your body tenses when emotion surfaces, the stories you tell to keep yourself comfortable and small. Resistance is the voice that says, "I can't go there. It's too painful. If I face that, I might fall apart." But what if falling apart is not the end, but the beginning? Because what you resist doesn't disappear. It just waits until you finally face it. Because unfelt grief waits, unforgiven wounds wait, unspoken truths wait, and they don't leave you alone. They whisper through your triggers. They echo in your relationships. They show up in the very places you think are unrelated, until one day life gives you no choice but to face them. And in that moment, the key appears. Not because the pain is gone, but because you finally stop running. Let's talk about Mark. Mark is the kind of man you wouldn't think was struggling. He's got a sharp mind, a stable job, a good reputation. People trust him. He works in consulting, always strategizing, always solving problems, always being the one others depend on. But inside, something's been unraveling for years. It started with a relationship that ended without real closure. She left, quietly, and Mark told himself it didn't matter. He buried the ache beneath long work hours and mental control. He said, "I don't have time for this. I need to focus." And so, he built a life around avoiding the pain. But it followed him in the form of burnout, shortened breath, sleepless nights, conversations where he was present in body but absent in soul, and worst of all, a quiet emptiness that grew louder with every passing year. He tried everything, more routines, more therapy, even meditation apps on his phone, but nothing touched the part of him that had gone numb, because he never opened the door. He never faced what he felt when she left, the rejection, the confusion, the part of him that asked, "Was I ever enough?" And so life stepped in, not as punishment, but as invitation. One night he found himself sitting alone in his apartment, staring at a presentation he had no passion for. It was 2 a.m. The screen blurred in front of him. His chest felt heavy, and in that fragile silence something cracked open. Tears he hadn't cried in years started falling. Not dramatic, not loud, just a steady, undeniable release. And with them came the truth he had resisted. "I don't want to live in my head anymore." He didn't know what healing would look like. He didn't have a plan. But that night, he did something he had never done before. He closed his laptop. He turned off the noise. He sat down on the floor. And for the first time, he simply allowed himself to feel the grief, the loneliness, the unmet need to be seen. No fixing, no analyzing, no shame, just breathe and presence. And in that raw stillness, he met himself. Not the version polished for the world, but the part of him he'd buried under control, the hurt, the fear, the child. And in meeting that part, something remarkable happened. He softened, the armor loosened, and for the first time in a long time, he felt peace. Not because the pain vanished, but because he stopped resisting it. So you see, Mark didn't heal by becoming stronger. He healed by becoming honest, by letting his walls come down, by seeing that pain isn't weakness, it's truth waiting to be acknowledged. What you suppress waits. What you feel fully begins to move, and what you resist holds the key. You see, emotions are not enemies. They're messengers. They're not blocks. They're bridges. The anxiety you feel before speaking your truth, that's not weakness. It's a threshold. The sadness you've carried in silence, it's not something to be cured. It's something to be heard. The rage you were taught to fear, that may be the very fire that leads you home, but we've been conditioned to suppress, to intellectualize, to stay positive at the cost of our authenticity. But suppression is not peace, it's postponement. And emotion is energy that longs to move. So ask yourself, what am I unwilling to feel? What have I labeled as bad, dark, or too much? Because what you suppress, you give power to, and what you feel fully transforms. So next time emotion arises, try this. Close your eyes, place a hand on your heart, and ask, what is here that wants to be seen? Don't rush it. Don't judge it. Just listen. The key is not in the avoidance. It's in the allowing. And what does it mean exactly to allow? This is a question I get often, and it's a very important one. For example, if someone's pain comes from shyness rooted in childhood trauma, what does it actually mean to face it? Does it mean that, for you to heal, you must force yourself to become someone extroverted? For example, having a job where you have to be consistently in contact with a lot of other people? Going to events that don't really resonate with you just for the sake to push yourself? This is the trap. Allowing to feel the pain does not mean forcing yourself into extroverted roles to prove you've healed. Healing is not performance. It is not becoming someone else. It is becoming fully who you already are, without shame, without suppression, without fear running the show. Facing the pain means allowing yourself to feel the original wound that created the shyness, without abandoning yourself this time. That might include the hurt of being ridiculed or rejected as a child, the moment your expression was met with coldness or punishment, or the fear that being seen will lead to danger, embarrassment, or pain. It means sitting with that younger part of you and saying, I see you. I understand why you hid, and I'm not going to push you anymore, but I'm also not going to keep hiding you away. You don't overcome shyness by pushing past it like it's a flaw. You heal it by realizing it was a form of intelligence, a brilliant adaptation, but one that's no longer needed when you're safe. Trauma lodges in the nervous system. When a person feels unsafe being seen, the body tightens, the breath shortens, the voice shrinks. Facing the pain often means gradual exposure with safety, not radical self-overthrow. For example, instead of speaking to 20 people, maybe the practice is speaking honestly with one person while breathing deeply. Instead of going to a big event, maybe it's staying at a small gathering until your body says it's enough, not your fear. This is called somatic integration. Healing becomes a relationship between the mind and the body, not an act of willpower alone. This powerful concept of somatic experiencing was developed by Dr. Peter Levine. His core insight is simple, yet life-changing. Trauma doesn't live in the event, it lives in the nervous system. He discovered that, unlike humans, animals naturally discharge the energy of traumatic stress by shaking, trembling, or moving instinctively after danger. This is how they stay healthy and free. Drawing from this, he created Somatic Experiencing, a groundbreaking approach to healing trauma, not through talking, but through gently listening to the body. His work is beautifully explained in the book, Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma, a must-read if you're ready to understand how trauma really works, and how your body already knows how to heal. You'll find the link to the book in the description. If this video speaks to you, this book may just change your life. Also, if this message is resonating with you so far, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps our work reach others who may need it, and it supports the continued creation of content like this. Now let's return to the deeper layers of this journey. You see, the ego wants control. It wants certainty. It wants to protect the identity it has built. And so it resists anything that threatens that image. It resists vulnerability. It resists not knowing. It resists change. But true safety does not come from control. It comes from trust. It comes from the courage to let the moment be what it is, to surrender the need to micromanage reality, to say, even this belongs. Because when you resist life, you become smaller than it. But when you trust life, you become one with it. And here's the paradox. The more you try to resist pain, the more it rules you. The more you run from fear, the more it chases you. But when you turn and face it, when you breathe into it, when you welcome it like an old friend, it softens, it shifts, it dissolves, and in its place, clarity arises. Stillness returns, awareness expands. This is the alchemy of awakening, not the removal of pain, but the transformation of your relationship to it. Resistance is like holding a beach ball underwater. The longer you push it down, the more force it carries. But when you let go, it rises, it breathes, and so do you. Because the truth is, you don't need to become anything. You only need to uncover what has always been there, and what has always been there is wholeness, awareness, compassion, clarity. The key isn't outside of you. It never was. It was hidden in the shadows you avoided, in the silence you feared, in the emotions you labeled too much. And now, you're starting to see. When you begin to walk toward what you once ran from, the inner landscape changes. Fear becomes fuel. Sadness becomes song. Anger becomes direction. And you become whole. Not because the resistance is gone forever, but because you've changed your posture toward it. You no longer fight life. You flow with it. You no longer fear your feelings. You befriend them. You no longer grasp at control. You trust the unfolding. And that trust, that surrender, opens doors you didn't even know were closed. So now you've seen the journey. Mark didn't overcome his pain by becoming someone else. He didn't conquer fear by pushing through it with force. He healed by turning toward the part of him he once tried to outrun, by allowing space for what he resisted, his grief, his fear, his longing. He stopped abandoning himself, and in that simple act of presence, he found the doorway home. This is what it means to face your pain, not to fix it, not to fight it, but to feel it fully, with kindness. And this is the heart of somatic experiencing. It's not a technique, it's a return to the wisdom of your body, a return to the sacred intelligence you were born with, a return to the truth that healing isn't something you do, it's something you allow. Dr. Peter Levine's work has changed the way we understand trauma. And if this message has stirred something in you, if it's touched the part of you that's tired of carrying silent pain, I truly recommend his book, Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma. It beautifully explains how trauma lives in the body and how to release it safely, gently, and naturally. You'll find the link to the book in the description below. And if this video resonated with you, if you want more guidance like this, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps spread this work to others who may be quietly struggling, just like Mark once was. And it supports the continued creation of content made to heal, awaken, and remind you of who you truly are. You don't have to run anymore. You don't have to resist what you feel, because what you resist is what holds the key. And now you're holding it. Let life in.